Steph, Abby, and Matt. You're only a what if away from great holidays. What if? It's Aussie for travel. Steph, Abby, and Matt.
Brisbane wakes up with Steph, Abby, and Matt on B105.
Hey, welcome to the podcast, everybody. It is wonderful to have your company.
Yes, we asked what happened when you got your licence.
Jeez. Yes.
Cheese Louise.
It feels like it
Cheese.
does revert back to then when people are about to lose their licence in older age.
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. My grandmother is 95 and she still has her license.
really?
Does she drive, though?
Only if she absolutely has
Has
to.
to. Because I always get scared of that. I know that my nana voluntarily gave it up because she just got approved again by the doctor and got back in the car. Like literally just approved, got back in the car and went to go forward and went reverse and hit a wall. And she said, no, that's it. I can't do it.
Well, there was the guy who lived across, the old guy who lived across the road from me who hated me. But I helped him get off the ground so many times. So I feel like he should have liked me somewut. But
Maybe he likes you now. He's up there looking down on you. Actually, probably less now.
Probably. But either way.
Looking up.
He was a Scotsman. But he had his license. He was an older gentleman. And then he got a new car. But because he was so used to driving a big old Volkswagen, no power steering, when he got a zippy little thing, he crashed it trying to back out. And it's tough. But it would be frustrating because I felt bad for that guy because he still was there, but his body and his senses were like failing on him. So I understood his frustration. At his very handsome neighbour across the road.
With all his amenities and abilities.
So
and look
jealous.
at him using his two legs to walk to the shops.
Yeah. He's like, I've sacrificed everything for what? That generation?
Yeah, that stupid haircut. His dumb flowers.
Wearing wigs, doing what is this tick thing?
Neighbourhood's gone to hell. Don't let anyone into Oxley now.
That was pretty much it.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not actually. Now you put it like
Well, you
that.
put it like that.
Yeah. He is looking down on him.
All right, let's get into it. We've got a big show today. Here's the podcast.
I do forget that what I actually say on air, my family's listening to. That's a bit of an issue. But I was saying that I didn't want our son to drive with my nephew because I'm like, it's my little nephew. But he's 18 now. But it's like, I know him as a little kid. And I was like, I just don't feel like your experience the first time you get your license.
Oh, no.
I
Especially
would have
boys.
I just think I was pretty bad. And I was like, the first day that I took the car out as I got my Ps, and I was so excited, and I was just such a great driver. So I did not drive the car that I had saved up to book because it was a manual. So I had to borrow Mum's car.
Okay, so did you get a manual license or an auto license?
So in South Australia where I got it, you just get a license.
Which
There's no
sounds
such thing
insane
as
to
a
me.
manual. There's no such thing as an automatic. This is back in the day. So I, at 16 and a half, just went and got my license, my Ps. But I could only afford a manual car, like an old crap one.
They were always a bit cheaper.
Yeah, and I tried to drive it after I'd already got my license and couldn't. So I was like, Mum, can you drive my car and we'll swap? Dad was not happy with it because he's like, you got to learn. But I was like, nah, sweet. So first day in my school uniform, driving to school, 3-car pileup.
Where were you in the pileup?
In the middle. So
it was only half your fault then.
Well, I guess. So it was just like a peak hour and I slammed into the car in front of me. And I literally just was like, oh my God. Can't remember much after, but I do know that there was workmen that picked up the car, like 40 of them, and took it to the side of the road because it was not drivable.
Wow.
They're like, it's all right, love, it's all right. I was just like,
Don't call my mum.
don't please call my mum. Not my dad. Don't
How
call
did she
dad.
take it?
Pardon?
How did she take it?
Oh, she was okay with that.
Right.
Was that the
Dad
first
was
time?
not so good. The first
Time you ever drove alone?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not funny.
It's not. It is now, but then it's not.
No. So I guess that's why I'm not that confident with other people going out into the world for the first
The
time.
other thing I always think, right? If it's not driving to school, what's the other first thing that you do when you get your
Go to get food.
Drive-through?
Drive-through.
Go through a drive-through.
Yeah.
and I always look at the big yellow poles
Yes.
and I think, is that a P-Plater's car?
Where it's got all the marks.
Yeah. And you
It's
go, look,
quite a narrow little passageway.
I
really
think
is.
that. I think the poles are there obviously to protect the building, and that's understandable. But surely they could just widen
Oh, I reckon
the
building
drive-through.
regulations, I know they change all the time, but no one has really talked about the fact that they need to be widened.
I agree. I think they
Cars
should.
are getting bigger. What about Rams? Can they not even go through a drive-through?
I think they can.
Oh, it's a tight squeeze.
Other thing I think, okay, that person is a confident driver. When you see a tradie go through with a big long trailer around that,
Yeah.
I go, that's
God,
a
no.
real
I'm
man.
like, wouldn't you park and then go in? Nah.
I struggle with my Barina. It is, yeah, it's awful.
Have you ever
especially.
crashed your car? Have you ever?
Yeah. It wasn't my first. It was. I had my license for 6 months. I ran up someone's bum. I was changing the CD in the CD player, coming up to a roundabout.
I was changing the CD.
Here's
So,
one for you.
kids, what used to happen? There was a CD player.
I was in the car with my mate, and males at that age are just stupid. And it was wet, and I had a station wagon, and my mate's like, this is going to be sick. We were turning a corner, and he's like, let's flick it out. So, yeah, this will be sick. And we spun, and I crashed into the curb, rode it up into the curb and crashed it and bent the axle. The worst thing about it was I did it on my street, and you could see the car from our front porch. So until it got taken away, every time I went out, my mum was like, see what you did? You idiot. See that? That was you. You moron.
Was it a write-off?
More or less.
Yeah.
Or those times where you're driving $500 cars.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Anything's a write-off because it's more than what the car's worth.
The headlights aren't working. Right off.
Yeah.
13 10 60. Safe space. What happened when you first got your license?
Because that's the other thing too. Back in those, now your first car is generally a bit safer. Like mine had blue tack holding things
We
together.
never had
Yeah.
to have it roadworthy. Wow, it was suggested,
Yeah.
but not enforced.
compulsory.
Well, there was no power steering.
No.
No air conditioning.
Power steering was using two hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So 13 10 60. I can remember when we took out my mate's parents' car. We had our license.
Oh, always a
but they
disaster.
said we weren't allowed to
Yeah.
drive it. But brought it back before they got home. But his dad gets home. First thing he does is walks up into the garage, puts his
Feels the bonnet.
hands on the bonnet, and he goes, "This is warm." No, it's not, Mr. Fleming. It's warm.
You meant to get takeaway? You meant to get KFC? Yeah.
All right, we'll take your calls next.
Stab Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.
I was just saying that I don't trust P-Platers, not because they're not good, but I wasn't good. First time I took the car out because I had my license and I was such a good driver, I was in a 3-car pileup. I was in the middle. I mean, I don't know why I say that. It doesn't make it better, but anyway.
Well, it does makes it half better because you've got to pay for the person in front of you, and the person behind you's got to pay for you.
Yes.
For you, right?
Well, yes. My parents had to, and then I was on a payment plan.
Were you on there as a underage driver? Because you know how you've got to nominate drivers and stuff like that.
I don't know if they did
For
actually.
insurance,
Yeah. Anyway, expensive lesson. They had me. But 13 10 60, we want to know what happened when you first got your license.
Sarah in Baronia, what happened when you got your license?
Wasn't so much me, it was my son. He had his licence 2 weeks and decided him and his mates would go up to Mount Springbrook Mountain, all in their own cars. He decided on the way back down that he'd drive his off the mountain.
Ooh. No.
So like, we got told in the morning, and the husband's like, oh, look, we're thinking we'll just be able to get it out with the tow rope, like it's not as bad as he's saying. Well, we're lucky to have him. The car's still up there because it was like going to cost like $8,000 or something to get it. Like they were going to have to close down the road and get a crane and all this stuff, and it wasn't worth it.
Wow.
So his car is still in the mountainside.
Yep.
How long ago was this?
Probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
What happens with that? Is there some sort of fine that you have to pay for littering?
Well, probably, but
Yeah.
nothing's come back yet.
Fair enough, Sarah.
Wow. And
There's,
so, yeah.
there's a lot of car parks up there, though.
Yeah.
Sounds
wow.
like he was lucky to be alive, though. Wow.
Yeah, he was. He was. And the worst thing was he was told before he went out, because we were doing a service on the car the next day. And his dad said, now don't go crazy up any mountains or that tonight.
Always the way. isn't
And
it?
he just didn't hear the don't part.
Zoe in Bray Park. What happened when you got your learners?
Yeah, so when I had my learners, my brother was teaching me how to drive manual on an old dirt road. He told me to gun it through a puddle, which I did. Lost control, spun out. I was so scared. I took my hands off the steering wheel, covered my eyes, and he was yelling, brake, brake. And I was like, which one's the brake? And then we hit a sandbank, thankfully, which stopped us from hitting a tree.
Wow. Covering your eyes is a real... I don't want to watch what's about to happen.
That's always a lesson. You should never
pretty
have
much.
never have older brothers as the teachers.
Yes, exactly.
What I had about it, you might be able to...
Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Whichever way you want to look at the
the
story.
lesson?
Okay.
And work out which one is the brake before you start driving.
Gotta agree with
He
it.
should have taught
Gotta
her
agree with
that.
Yeah.
What's worse, though, so you'd probably still remember, you'd remember too, the slow motion
Oh, yeah.
of it all.
Yeah.
It's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Dave's in Karina. Hey, Dave.
Hey guys, how are we?
We're good. What happened when you got your license, Dave?
I reckon I probably had my license about a week, and I'd had my car about a day. And I went down to my mate's parents' place, and they're on a few acres, and they had this one paddock, and there's one tree in the paddock, and we were just paddock bashing. So I was, harnessing my inner Vin Diesel, put it in reverse, just went as fast as I could with the intention of ripping the handbrake up,
Yeah.
spinning the car around, end up reversing into the tree.
The one tree.
The one tree, like Stevie Wonder could have seen this tree. It was so big. And it went from Vin Diesel to Paul Walker instantly.
Solid gap.
Now, obviously, we're telling these stories, kids, so
As a
you can be
warning.
safe. Do not do what people have done, all
They're
right?
smarter than us.
Stab Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.
After the weekend, when there's a lot still recovering or just trying to remember what actually happened at Mum's Gone Wild, they will appreciate that we don't do it very often for that reason. That mums really, we can confirm, probably go the most wild.
Oh, without a doubt. I asked my daughter-in-law who
Yes.
parties harder, 20-somethings or 30-somethings.
Yeah.
She said, definitely the old ladies.
Oh, the older ladies, did she say? Okay. Just because she's a young mum. But this is an epic, I guess, story of two mums that have gone out for a night. Now, they just went to their local pub. They're over in Edinburgh, right? And Siobhan,
Yeah.
and her friend Adele, they were like, let's go out, right? Two mums, gorgeous girls. They've decided that they're going to get dressed up, just go to the pub. Fun. Now, the pub was sort of wrapping up, and their night was sort of wrapping up. And one of them was like, okay, I've got my key to go home. Here's my house key, just separate, taken off my big group of keys, just so I can get back into the home. And she's like, right, time for me to go home. And her friend has gone, nah, you're not going home. I'm not ready for the night to end. And as a bit of a joke, she was like, I'm going to swallow your key, grabbed the key and swallowed it. Now, her friend in the doorway was like, ha, you didn't swallow it. And she thought that she just put it behind her back. But no. Commitment to the you're not going and you're staying out with me, she actually did swallow the key. So what happened is apparently the other girl's mum, who she lives with the kids, was out working. So she was like, well, okay, I'm going to have to stay out with you and then go and sleep at your house. Woke up the next morning and she's like, where is my key? And she goes, oh, no, I wasn't joking. I actually swallowed the key.
What goes in must come out.
Yeah.
Well, they had to go to the hospital.
Hospital?
Yeah.
Couldn't you just wait?
No, well, it's probably too big for that. Like a $2 coin or something, you're probably fine.
So they had to do x-rays at the emergency to see where the key actually was.
How'd they get it out? Keyhole surgery?
Actually, that's pretty good. So the next morning,
Yeah, right.
they're there, obviously with one big hangover, getting an x-ray to see where the key is. And they said exactly what you said. It's going to come out.
Oh, they did.
But it's going to come out of its own time. So they said you're just going to have to, if you get sick, come back out.
Yeah, but what if it was sideways?
I don't know. I guess it
And it
still
came
would
out-
in your digestive system, unless it's going to cut something.
It could.
Maybe.
I mean, you would hope that it would work its way out long
Yeah.
ways.
Well,
to
the
make
medics,
things easy.
they carried out
Shit
an
hangover.
x-ray. Yeah, they revealed that the metal shape was lodged in her large intestine and would come out. So apparently it took 5 days to come out.
She needs to eat more fibre.
Well, she probably does. And then she said to her friend, she's like, I got the key. Do you want it? And she's like, nah, you know what?
You get a new one cut and you give me that one.
Yeah. So
I'll make the poor bloke at Bunnings handle it.
Yeah. You wouldn't know.
That is commitment, isn't it? No, I don't want you to go out. So here you go. I'm going to swallow the key.
Does she live at number 2?
It did not have all those details.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Well,
Mum's gone wild.
can't wait for next year.
Mum's gone to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Stab Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.
Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, you're into this, Maddie. Selling things on Marketplace. Have you ever bought anything?
No.
No?
Never been a buyer
That's because
on
you
Marketplace.
really don't want anything extra in your house, do you?
No, I am an outgoing person. I like things to go out. But the thing on Marketplace...
I'm an outgoing person.
No, not personally. The thing with Marketplace is you can sell stuff easily. You just have to lower your expectation. There's so many people who are trying to get back the same money they bought for a second-hand scratched item. You're like, righto, champion.
No, but I sometimes know it's worth.
Yeah, but that's not the Marketplace.
No, I know.
Is about just getting a little bit of cash, clearing out your bedroom.
So you don't need to pay for it to go to the dump because that could be expensive.
Exactly.
So Caitlin, our online guru, she's found some Marketplace items. Were you trying to buy something or it just popped up?
I just love scrolling on there. It's its own social media for me. I just love to see what people have got.
And what value they attach to that item.
Yes, and I like seeing their description. That's very interesting to me. So you've got the descriptions here as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I do find it interesting. One, the things that people try to sell, because you're like, no one wants that. And two, because none of them have any sort of sales or marketing experience, how they say it's in good condition, and then you look at it, and it is not in
It's good condition for being 15 years old.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to turn it over.
Okay.
Okay, which one of you guys got first? An aquarium?
You've all got the same one first, yes.
The aquarium decoration, which is 2 skeletons on a grave site doing it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even realise that part.
The description is very lovely aquarium decoration, eternal love as I would call it. Pick up Wynnum. I also stock freshwater fish like barras and electric blue and yellow. All right,
I'm so
that's-
sorry, but wouldn't that normally just go in the rubbish?
Kidding? It could be a collector's item.
The first thing I would do is message them and say, what are the genders of the skeletons?
You can see what the genders
one
are.
has
One's
a
got
top hat and one has flowers.
Yes, so they're
Idiot.
male and female. You can see that. Duh.
I never assume that in 2025, guys.
They obviously died doing something they love.
All right, I'm going to say...
Then why, if
Yeah.
the guys on top of, right,
With
Obviously-
her feet in the air.
the feet are in the air. I didn't see that part. I
You
thought it was
positioned
a...
for me.
That's not how we do that position. We've got 4, and that is not one of them.
Sorry, I couldn't tell. 4? Why so many? I couldn't tell the feet were in the air.
Regardless,
I
it doesn't matter
thought-
about the position that they're doing it in.
It
How much is
100%
it
does.
worth?
I
Wow.
thought that was someone going cowgirl. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go $2.50.
250?
No,
or
$2.50.
I'm going to say $50 they want for it.
$50.
Okay.
Matt's still trying to work out
Oh,
the
Matt,
position.
move on. We've got another one, mate.
Excuse me. This is serious business.
Oh my God.
$20 they want.
It's quite the steal. It's $15.
Oh, Maddie was closest.
I reckon it would have been 15 when they actually bought it. Eternal
All right.
love.
There we go. What's our next one? You explain to us what the next thing is there.
So the next one is a literal ball and chain. This one I saved.
This is what Scotty calls me.
All right. How much would Abby sell for?
No returns. Used, but still looks new. Can really hold you back if worn correctly. No questions. Pick up in Loganholme. Are you able to sell these?
A ball and chain?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. That's wrong.
Yeah, don't. There was a tradition of putting bucks in them in
Yes.
bucks parties.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that.
I reckon they want $100.
I reckon it's
so
old.
unique.
Yeah, I would say 150.
I'm going to lock in 100 with Abby. That was going to be my guess.
$40.
Oh, let's drive to Loganholme.
But eventually it'll take half your stuff.
Yeah. All right. What's our next one?
Next one is a Smeg brand drip filter coffee maker. But it's just a glass container, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is that brand which is expensive because that
Yeah.
one's a German brand. Right?
Around 2 months old.
Pick up in Ascot.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say.
Well, this one has the old price and then they've discounted it.
Oh.
So I reckon if you get either one right, you get a point.
Okay.
Reason for selling. I was given a bigger coffee machine and don't find this one being used as much. So she was gifted one. So I'm reckoning she has no idea how much.
$50.
I'm going to say that she's trying to sell it for $220.
For a glass
She's in Ascot and she's just like, I need more counter space. Just pick it up for free.
Rich
Take
people don't ask for more. That's a
Take
good
this
point.
damn thing. It's just annoying me.
So the original price was $160
For that.
and the discounted price is $140.
Oh,
yes.
That ain't no discount.
come on. No.
Okay, last item. What have you found there? I love that these
Oh.
are all in Brisbane. Is Brisbane the most cooked place? It's a tiger rug.
Gold Coast is pretty good for some weird stuff.
Oh, yeah, I can
Ah,
imagine.
okay.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
So this is collect from Windsor. It's a tiger rug. Now it's not real
No
tiger
description?
skin.
No, like, material.
Does it need it? It speaks for itself,
Yeah,
Abby.
but I don't know, is it like a synthetic or a wool? There's a lot of questions for that. But I'm going to go
$50.
I'm going to go $20.
Now rugs are expensive.
No, they're not. They're always on sale.
This is a novelty one that's from
yeah,
IKEA.
but I reckon. Oh, is that IKEA brand?
No,
is
it's
it?
not, but I'm just
Oh.
giving it a backstory because it didn't have one that bothers me.
I reckon they want $175.
Whoa.
For it.
Whoa.
What is it?
$60.
Hey, well, hang on, that's for you. Sorry, wrong one.
I got
There
him
we
down to 50.
go. Yeah. There we go. Hey, if you do find something cooked on Facebook Marketplace, send it through to us, by
Yes.
the way.
These will all be on our story as well if anyone wants to have a look.
Yeah, if you want to buy them. All right.
Stab Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.
Time for the weather now. Here's Tony Auden overlooking the lovely Story Bridge.
Steph, you've been across this, haven't you? The bomb cyclone?
The bomb cyclone.
Bomb diggity.
After its bombogenesis.
Yeah,
During the week.
we could ask you, but we thought, you know what? Why don't we get a professional on? Tony Auden from 7 News. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. I love it when you use the word bombogenesis early on. That's great.
It just dawned on me, you want to be careful because a lot of flights have been cancelled because of this in and out of Brisbane to Sydney and stuff. You wouldn't want to be talking about a bomb cyclone in an airport too loudly. You might find yourself locked up.
Yeah, no, look, the standard wording of an East Coast low is probably a bit safer to use around the airport, I think.
Yeah. Why did it get called a bomb? I've never heard of a bomb cyclone.
It's better for clickbait.
Yeah, well, it's a sexier sounding headline, I'll give you that. So basically, a low is said to be bombing if it intensifies rapidly over a 24-hour period. Normally, that's a pressure drop of 24 hectopascals. I'm sure you guys care all about hectopascals. But basically, what we saw was we had rain earlier in the week, and then over 24 hours, that whole system went south, bombed, and smashed New South Wales with wilder conditions. And, of course, we got the tail end of all of that wind yesterday as well.
So is it going to be windy again today, or is that over now?
Yes, it'll be windy, but I'll call it more your standard Eka-style westerly, where it's a bit breezy and it's a bit more normal. Yesterday was definitely a couple of notches up. We saw those peak gusts up about 76 k's an hour.
Yep.
And some of those inland areas probably saw stronger wind gusts than with Cyclone Alfred. We've got trees and seeds and leaves all over the suburb where I am at the moment. So a little bit of cleanup from that debris as well.
Yeah, I was driving down Gap Creek Road, which is quite bushy, and there was just debris all over the road. Everywhere.
So I almost got blown off my bike yesterday, actually. I had a little ride down low and then came up high. I had a couple of 100 metres on a normal road and ended up a couple of metres across, nearly going into a coming car. So I knew it was a little bit bold to maybe hop on the bike, but I was keen to get some exercise in.
That's really hard, though, if anyone saw that was you. Do you know what I mean? You can't be caught out without a jumper on when it's really cold because I go, oh, well, you should have known better. You knew.
Yes, I've made sure I definitely haven't driven through any floodwaters. I've got the brolly ready at every moment as well. You've got to look like you're prepared in this job.
We were talking about this before, maybe we can clear up a misconception. Is it true that sustained wind, will drive people mad?
Yes, wind is the worst weather. That is official. I don't care about any kind of subjectivity. That's the thing, and yesterday definitely proved that.
Tony, what do you feel about weathermen who didn't really study it? Like Sam Mack, right? Gets all the kudos for being the sunrise weatherman, but he's just, like bouncing around, having fun.
He's reading an order.
You know what I mean? Like he's probably just checking your weather report from the day before and then going, bring the kids down here to the Jumpy Castle Festival. How do the real meteorologists feel about those types of weathermen?
There's a place for light entertainment, and then when it gets serious, you can give me a call.
Hey.
Yeah, when there's a natural disaster, they don't roll them in. They're like, no, let's get,
No.
Because we actually met you before you got the job, and you were, like, you've always been
Fantastic barista.
like, you've just been obsessed with weather. So did you go to obviously study it and then pitch out for a job? Like, it's not like you did the other way around and gone, okay, wait a minute, I want to go and educate myself after.
Yeah, that's right. So I was actually pushing trolleys at Coles amongst my studies. I did all the careers guidance, thought, hey, I want to do this until I find something better. Studied, got through the Bureau, worked for 10 years at the Bureau, so that's why I'll happily add my interpretation on top of the Bureau forecasts and their warnings as well, because I've done all of it. I know how their systems work and where their systems, not the forecasters, but the systems can sometimes wash out the details. So that's where I like to add it on air. Went through, did my uni studies, 10 years there, and then got lucky to get the chance in TV, and touch wood, I'm still there pointing at my maps and trying to get it right as often as I can.
So good. There's a guy I follow on TikTok in America, Tony. I've always thought you should do it. He works in song lyrics into his weather reports.
And the thing is, I've been doing that before he did. I first did it in 2015 with the Bee Gees.
Yes, you did. Yeah, but have you done it every week?
No, I'm not as frequent as Weather Adam is. So he's great, and I've been inspired by him.
Weather Adam, that's his name, isn't he? Yeah.
And I did help you out with the RB Fridays one.
Yeah, you're forgetting that. I think what's worse, Tony, is when people watch it and then they don't notice. They're like, geez, there's some weird words that he's pulling out there, and they don't actually notice until after.
Keeping it funky.
It comes in handy in winter when it's quiet and we've got the same words every day. I like to get a little bit creative.
Yeah, you probably can't do like get low, you know what I mean?
Well, I was thinking the other one you could start doing is work in like kids chat, like say, don't crash out today because the weather's going to be awful, you know?
I'll try my best, but we don't have kids, so I might need a few pointers on that, Maddie.
There you go.
That's not going to get the younger generation in.
Yeah,
it's just going to be like cringe.
How to relate to the kids.
Yeah. Skibbity is your next one to work, Tony.
Okay, I'll try my best on Skippity and keep those TikTok phrases coming. I know you're a superstar in that space.
You got to work on your biz there, Tony.
Skibbity.
Skibbity.
Skib.
Skibbity.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Skibbity.
there.
All right, Rizzler. Mate,
we love you.
always a pleasure. Good on you, buddy. Have a great day.
And thanks for all the personal messages in between the weather chat that we've had over the last few weeks as well.
I forgot that we're meant to be doing that. All right, I'm going to send you one now, buddy. Good stuff. Make sure you check him out. 7 News, Tony Auden, there he is.
Stab Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.
Next week, Wednesday night, a decider for the State of Origin in Sydney. Queensland can do it. We know they can. We've done it many, many times before. One of the great stories, though, coming out of Origin camp and here in Brisbane is Bronco players, Gahamet, and I hope I say his first name right, Shibasaki. Now, he is making his debut for Queensland at the age of 26.
Now, we've been hearing about him for some time from you because your son was so excited that he went to school pickup.
So I think it's his nephew goes to my kid's school.
Yeah.
And my 11-year-old is a huge Broncos fan.
Yeah.
And he runs up to me and he goes, Dad, Shibasaki's here. I'm like, what? He goes, Shibasaki's over there. I go, oh, that's nice. He goes, yeah, he signed my hat and he signed my bag. So now whenever he sees him there, he goes over to him and he says, oh, great try on the weekend. And Shibasaki dabs him up and he thinks it's amazing. And I must admit, I haven't spoken to him because Xander runs over, but he seems like a really nice guy. He gives my son lots of time every time he's there. And so to see someone who's worked so hard and who is such a great bloke get their shot is just incredible. So right now we're going to talk to Terry Campese, who is one of his former coaches, who joins us. Hey, Terry.
Good morning.
We always like hearing backstories of the new players because, you know, to know a little bit more about them and I guess their work ethic and everything like that. Did you hear from him after he got selected for State of Origin?
Sure did, yeah. It was we got word on Sunday that he was going to get selected, so shot him a text message and he was straight back to us. And we've seen him a couple of times over the last month. Every time we travel down to Brizzy, he comes and sees the boys, so he's still in touch with the team, which is great.
Wow. He was on a train and trial contract getting paid the lowest money you possibly can. He was kind of just there for whatever. So to have turned around his career in 6 months is just incredible, right? This is unheard of what he's done.
It was a huge gamble. I spoke to him late last year about the opportunity, and just the percentage of players who turn a train and trial contract into a full-time deal is very minimal. And he wanted to take the risk. He just had a newborn, so he's got a little bub here in Townsville as well. So he moved down there on his own and left his family up here to give it one last shot, and it's paid off.
Yeah.
And now he's in Queensland, which is a tremendous story.
And how much credit are you taking, Terry?
All of it.
Oh, around Townsville, all the credit.
Lower down you
He's
get,
got
the
a
less
t-shirt,
credit you take.
just say. Terry, when he was playing for you, though, he was working full-time elsewhere in like a day job?
Yeah, so he was in the mentoring space. So he worked with some of the guys, mentoring some of the kids here in Townsville. And when I picked him up, I just moved to Townsville and heard that he had a Japanese rugby deal. He was unsure if he wanted to go over there because his partner was pregnant. So I just spoke to him and just said if he decided he didn't want to go, then there was always a spot with him at the Townsville Blackhawks with us. And he gave me a call one day and said he's decided to stay in town. So, we welcomed him in, and he was such a huge contribution to our success last year. And, he always showed what he had, and we just wanted him to have that shot, which Broncos gave him.
I haven't had a chance to meet him yet, but my son has been all over him like a rash at school pickup. Like I said, he's completely starstruck by him, and he gives him a lot of time. Does that speak to the character that he has as a bloke? Is he really good to get along with?
Oh, 100%. He's one of the real genuine guys, and just because I think the path that he's taken to get to where he is definitely contributes to that.
Yeah.
And I heard him on one of the press conferences the other day that some of the kids that he's mentored here in Townsville have actually moved to Brisbane, and now they come along to training sessions and to the games, and he introduced them to the team. So he's just one of the most lovable footy players getting around.
As a former player and now a coach, do you think you can spot them from a young age, the ones that are going to, I guess, make it? Is there something different about them? Do they train extra, or you can see it?
Oh, you could see that Gem was always, wanting to be back in the NRL. Once he made that decision to stay here in town, and I think his form on the field was outstanding. He was, such an attacking weapon, which we've seen him do each and every week now for the Broncos, scoring tries at will. It was more just him getting that opportunity and getting the faith from the coach, and that's what Michael Maguire has done. There is definitely a couple of players getting around in the Q Cup now who I think will be having this same conversation in the next 2 years. So there's a young kid that plays for us, Dudley Dotoy, who's been on fire, and he was outside Gem last year. So there is these guys floating around that just need that opportunity.
I mean, let's also not forget the fact that if you've got a small baby and you leave your wife 12 hours north, you got to make that work. Otherwise,
you've got to work harder than anyone else.
What are you doing down there, mate? I'm here with the baby.
He's they've moved down recently. So last time I spoke to Gammy, come up to Townsville and move the kids down and the family. So, I think it was a big sacrifice that they all made for him to give it one last opportunity. And he's taken it with both hands, and now he's a Queensland representative, or about to be. And what a game! Game 3 decider. A lot to play for.
How much did your text say? Hey, so proud of you. Let me know how far I am down on the list for free tickets.
It's the only time I'll probably be cheering for Queensland a little bit.
There you go. Well, mate, thanks for your time this morning. We have, of course, wanted to just get a bit of an insight as to who he was, because he's a name that everyone in Brisbane and everyone in Queensland is talking about now. So we appreciate your time this morning.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
There you go. Terry Campese. He is Shibasaki's former coach, who is taking all the credit in Townsville for him making it into the Maroon side.
Stab Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.
Yesterday I got an email and it was like the title was Feeling Stuck? Crisis expert reveals how decision paralysis ruins careers, relationships, and confidence. And I was like,
I don't know whether I want to open this email or not. I'm indecisive about it.
I actually felt like it's really directed towards me because that is so hard, isn't it? I think with so much decision making, we're always in fear that we're going to make the wrong one. And I thought, well, why don't we get a crisis expert on to talk about it? His name is Gary Fay. Good morning.
Good morning, Abby. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. Before we talk about, I guess, what you can do with decision paralysis, would you mind telling, I guess, your personal story? And I know it's probably a long one, but a personal story of why you started, I guess, studying this and becoming a bit of an expert on it?
It's a bit of an interesting one, I suppose. I spent 18 years with the Australian Federal Police, and I had some fantastic roles, including running the Prime Minister's Protection Team and the Commissioner's Office. So I spent a long time in high-pressure, high-performance roles, but for a long part of that career, the last 10 years, perhaps the most successful part of my career, I was making some poor decisions away from work. I was battling a major depressive disorder and a gambling addiction that cost me $2 million. It cost me my career and had me very seriously considering the value of my own life. And during that period, I was kind of forced to make some serious decisions. And thankfully, I made some good ones. I started researching and learning a lot about what I was going through, and been fortunate enough to go back, do a master's in brain and mind sciences, and am halfway through a PhD in decision making, ironically around gambling.
Right. Wow.
It's so good that you've turned your life around and actually want to be able to, I guess, go, I don't want others to make the mistake, or I want to find a reason why I went through that.
At the start, it was really about survival. It was about me coming through. It was about repaying all of those people that had stood by me through the tough times, and in some way, I suppose, repaying the people that I'd hurt and lied to along the way. And then I just found that other people were struggling too, other high performers, other people in all facets of life. When I started to share my story, I really became noticeable that other people were coming forward and asking for help.
Do you think it's decision-making paralysis is more predominant these days because we have so much more choice than we used to?
It's definitely a key part of it. There are so many options that we have in the world today that we almost fear making the wrong decision. But the other thing that we do is we don't ever practice decision-making. And decision-making is a skill. And unfortunately, we tend to think that when times get tough, we'll be okay and we'll make the right decision. But if we're not practicing good decisions in easy times, it's hard to think that they're going to show up in the tough times.
Gary, I hate deciding what to have for dinner. That's probably, how do you...
You're asking a crisis expert on how you make a decision on what you have for
Everyone's
dinner?
crisis is different.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
You
Sure,
gotta start small.
sorry. No, yep, okay, no worries.
Well, I can help you out a little bit, and to be fair, it's the same way that a lot of good decisions are made, and that is make the decision once and don't make it again. So whatever you want to have on Monday nights, have it on Monday nights all the time.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty good.
All right, KFC 7 days a week. I like it. But what about those big decisions, right? Whether it is to change careers, do you separate from your marriage, buy the house, sell the house, those big ones that we all lose sleep over. How do you make those decisions and be happy with it no matter the outcome?
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that people pre-plan, not pre-plan the decision, but get a little bit of clarity on identity and purpose. Most people make decisions without fully understanding their own needs and their own values, their own meaning and purpose in life. And therefore, all of those decisions are fraught with danger. So if we start from the point of view of figuring out who you are, what's important to you in life, what values and characteristics you want to live your life by, it can make decision-making a little bit easier.
I don't want to stereotype too much, but I will. Maddie over there has got a young daughter who's very good at decision-making and will tell him what she's going to wear. And I, on the other hand, have 3 boys who are very happy for me to make decisions. Do you think that needs to be, I guess, more important in young boys' and girls' lives so that they have that skill?
Yeah, I think decision-making or problem-solving is a fantastic skill for anybody to have. And at its base level, decision-making is actually a problem-solving. And potentially when you have those circumstances where people may be a little more laissez-faire or not wanting to make the decision. You can find a middle ground where you may present them with two options and ask them to pick one.
Yeah.
Often if you present two and ask which one, you can start to produce that decision-making quality in people.
The other side of the coin, I guess, Gary, is the decisions made spur of the moment, like instantly, which has to happen sometimes. There is no time to pre-plan or think. Is that a skill that you're either good at that or bad at that too, or is that something you can build up?
Yeah, it's definitely a skill, and like all skills, you can build them up and practice them. And look, to be fair, most decisions made in life are what we would call these type 1, fast, automatic-based decisions. Therefore, we just tend to live life going through that process all of the time. And unfortunately, when big decisions come, we tend to put them off. It is a skill that you can practice. I'm not naive enough to think that every decision you make has to be sat down and thought through for 2 hours, but it is something that you can practice a little bit along the way.
When my wife tells me she just wants me to make a decision, I said, I made the decision to marry someone who's good at making decisions. I love you, babe.
I think that's the perfect answer.
Mate, great to talk to you this morning. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Anytime.
Good on you. There he is, Gary Fay. He's the founder of Strong Men, on the air with us here at B105. Stav, Abby and Matt.
Stav, Abby and Matt.
Hey, tomorrow is 50K day, guys, so no answers for Alpha Bucks.
No.
Doesn't work like that. Someone wins $50,000. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Stav, Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.